I 17 think my mom's whole family is helping her cheat on my father and she has left us. Okay, I'm writing this on my tablet in secret because I don't want my family to see this. I suspected of my mom possibly cheating on my dad since last year. I have good reason to believe so because one night I caught her talking on the phone with someone in a flirtatious way and I was just overall suspicious. I wrote down the convo in detail including the date and time in my sketchbook for future reference. Another reason for my belief is that she is constantly harping on my father for potentially cheating on her, which I know for a fact he isn't because he always comes straight home from work and should he ever need to go somewhere he brings a few of my siblings or me with him and he has always been doing it for my whole life. I believe that it's a result of her projecting herself onto him and so she just manipulates him into doing things to get her way, forcing him to give her his money when she notices he has been saving for us to get a house or potential emergencies, and has my dad walking on eggshells around her and to some extent me and my siblings. My mother has left us after my brother foolishly ordered an Uber to the airport for her while the rest of the family was either asleep or at work, meaning it was planned out because she chose the sibling who would comply the easiest. My older sibling and my father have been talking to family on my mum's side to see if they know where she is, but they claim to not know by telling my older sibling that she just hasn't told them or is basically telling them that it is our family that made her leave. No one is picking up calls from my father and so I think they are ignoring him in favor of my mom. And I know that my least favorite aunt must know something because my mother constantly on the phone with her and she visited her house the day before she left. I honestly don't know what we can do other than wait it out. I really hope my father doesn't take her back because while I know that she constantly hurts him and leaving is probably one of the worst things she has done, he still loves her and is devastated despite the front he is putting up for us. TL Doctor, my mum is probably cheating on my dad and her whole family is helping her do it and she has recently left us without a goodbye. I'm sorry your mom's done this to you and your family. She did a really crappy thing. No parent should ever abandon their children and she even used one to inadvertently help her. That sibling must be going through hell right now. I would tell you dad what you know, it might help him come to terms with things. Tell him you thought you were being paranoid because it never happened again, but now her actions might have confirmed your suspicions. Just be there for each other as a family and show her and her family how good you all are without her and prove them wrong. Something similar happened to my old neighbor 8 years ago and my friend ended up making a public Facebook post tagging all his stats, one that ran off, friends and family, and someone gave them his new address. The guy ended up having to come back to settle all the legal things and got burnt for his actions. Good luck and take care. Yeah, I'm hoping my dad decides to divorce my mom. And about what you said about what I witnessed only happening once in front of me was something really spot on, so you really gave me some courage. Thank you. Talk to your father and explain your suspicions. 100% this. It is very possible that your father knows or at least has his own suspicions. Hearing that she has exposed her children to her selfish behavior may be what he needs to snap himself out of whatever feelings he has that allow him to stay with her and continue to get walked on by your mother. He needs to get out for his own sanity and he needs to remove you children from the toxic environment. Info: why did she need one of the children to order an Uber for her instead of doing it herself? Cheating is horrible, but worse yet is abandoning your children. That is inexcusable. Share your concerns with your dad and be aware it'll take some time for reality to set in for him. I feel terrible for your father. I'm sorta glad she's out of his life. He deserves so much better. Help your father through the breakup/divorce. BF wants to pay me for my time, so he'll try to make it short. Me, 21-year female, and my boyfriend, 25-year male, have been in a relationship for like 2 to 3 months now. It's not a long relationship, and we had some problems from my side because I'm dumb, but it's not the reason I'm here today. I don't have a job right now, but I'm starting a new one on Monday. While I didn't have a job for about 2 months, I had a lot of time to spend it with my BF, so last night, he confessed to me by text that he's kinda sad about me getting a job, and that I won't be able to spend as much time with him anymore, and that I won't be able to text or call him while at work. So I jokingly said that I don't want to work too, and that he should pay me. But OFC, it was a joke. Clearly I used laughing emojis and even said that it's a joke XD, but he took it way too far for me, because he did offered me €400 for a month just so I could give him my love and attention. And it wasn't a joke. I asked him, and he said that he was dead serious. Well, I denied OFC, and told him that I don't want to feel like our relationship is my job. It really weirded me out. Somehow made me feel like an escort. There's nothing wrong with it, it's just not for me. And he always does that. It feels like he's trying to buy me or my love. And we talk about these stuff, but it feels like he doesn't care about that. Jokes about paying me for sex, or when he pays for food that I will pay him by giving a blowjob, or even puts his hand in front of my best friend on my head and pushes it down to his crotch. It's embarrassing. And when I tell him that I don't like it when he does stuff like that, he says that he's sorry, but then still does that. So I don't know how to feel about him offering me money to just give him attention. TL, drive, my boyfriend offered me to pay money for my love and attention. I don't know how to feel about that. Edit, there's no question here, just trying to understand why would he act like that, and if my feelings are valid. Kinda afraid to overreact and overthink about this. When I tell him that I don't like it when he does stuff like that, he says that he's sorry, but then still does that. If he keeps doing it, then he's not sorry. What exactly are you getting out of this? This happened with my sister-in-law. He would pay her to take off work and go on vacation, so not the exact same circumstance but still kinda sketchy feeling. He even got her a house closer to her work so she wouldn't have to spend so much time commuting and would get to see him more. They dated for a little over a year before he just got to be too much. He had so much money it was like he had no boundaries anymore. He made sure to defend what he paid for, and she caught him creeping around the parking lot in his car a couple of times when she was with her friends. They are still friends, but she had to draw a line. These are red flags. My ex-boyfriend used to do eerily similar things that disrespected my boundaries and my autonomy. At first I thought it was no biggie, and then he turned out to be an insecure, abusive ass. Obviously I don't know your situation exactly, but please be careful. Sounds like he doesn't really respect you. If someone pushed my face to their crotch at all, especially in front of anyone, I would break their fingers. But that's just me. Smile. Not sure what kind of advice you are looking for, but there's my opinion. Edit, someone. Edit 2, there. This is weird. It would make me feel that something was very off with him. Combined with the other things you mention, I'd get the feeling that he doesn't really totally want you to be a separate autonomous person. He wants you to be available to him 24/7, and to have no needs or boundaries of your own. I'm not saying he's a full-fledged controlling abuser or anything, but these are certainly red flags. A job isn't just about cash, it's about autonomy and freedom, and, if you're interested, a career that fulfills you and contributes to the world. Do not become financially dependent on him. Pay attention to his behavior, and take note of times when he seems to disregard your boundaries or tries to curtail your independence. Consider whether you want to be with someone who would be happy to have a partner with no other interests or responsibilities outside of the relationship. Want to get over boyfriend's loud chewing? Advice welcome. TDLR, boyfriend chews with mouth open and very loudly, says it's because he can't breathe well through nose. I can't stand it, but I know I have to learn to live with it. Any help? Hey all, I know this is a minor relationship problem, but I'm hoping someone has good advice. I love my boyfriend to the moon and back. He really is perfect for me. With COVID happening, we moved in together and he's been fantastic, making space for me in his place, making a ton of renovations so we can both be comfortable, but it's still a 600 feet apartment, so not much room. We can't fit a dining table, so we sit on the floor with the coffee table for dinner. The issue? He chews so loudly sometimes. Whenever the food is too hot or if it's a sloppier meal like curry or pasta, It's lip smacking and like he's got a spin cycle going in his mouth. He says it's because he's 6'4" and has to hunch over the coffee table, so he wants to chew quieter but he can't. I'm not sure if I fully believe it, but I know he would never intentionally try to piss me off or make me cringe. I've asked him nicely several times, saying, "Hey babe, this really makes me uncomfortable. Would it be okay to chew a bit quieter? Or when you chew it reminds me of when my dad would chew loudly when he was mad, and it gives me wicked anxiety and he will for a minute and then slip right back into it." Yesterday he was eating with his mouth completely agape, and I had already had a rough day, so I said, "Babe, come on, can you not hear that?" And he was hurt and walked into the other room to finish his meal. I thought I wasn't asking for too much for him to close his mouth, but then he explained that it's hard when he's hunched over to breath and eat at the same time, and that's why he wants to build a little kitchen bar so he can eat while sitting properly, which is really sweet and I didn't realize until he explained it. After doing some reading, I saw that I might be the problem in some articles, and that I have to get over my hatred of chewing rather than make him adapt to me. I was raised that it was just rude to do, but I never thought that I was asking too much. Has anyone ever gotten over their partner's chewing? Yeah. I honestly can't stand mouth sounds and it would be a deal breaker if they aren't even trying. If he can't breathe through his nose, why hasn't he seen a doctor? This can't be good for his health. I've had bad sinusitis so I can relate, yet I was never chewing like a damn animal mouth wide open. Yes, you might have misophonia, but are we going to pretend that seeing someone chewing like a troglodyte isn't disgusting? Man, that's nice to hear. I thought I was just being a B-word. It's our cat he's allergic to, but so am I and I can keep my mouth closed. Ugh. I have misophonia, I cannot stand it. My husband isn't the worst, but I mean I'd happily stab him in the face. I get by with a loud TV show and not watching him. Just wanted to chime in and call bullshit on his excuses. My BF is the same height and we also eat at a coffee table. It absolutely does not cause him to smack his lips or chew with his mouth open. I can be sure of this fact because I too have misophonia. Sounds like a bad habit or maybe something to do with his nasal passages. Either way, I feel for you. I've been on both sides of this. My ex couldn't stand to sit by me while I was eating unless he was eating too or we had the TV on. Honestly, it was pretty hurtful as I eat with my mouth closed and am pretty conscientious, but apparently I'm still a very loud chewer despite this. However, I also can't stand loud chewing in other people and it makes me want to rage and vomit, so I totally get it. We got around it by having music or the TV on. The visual distractions help too. We often staggered meals, or would eat in different rooms. In hindsight it was kind of sad, but during the relationship there were many other opportunities to connect, so it wasn't particularly difficult. Pretty much however you approach it you're going to seem slightly antagonistic. It's one of those things that is really hard to make an us against the problem issue because it's basically calling him gross and inconsiderate. So he's probably defensive. Have you ever brought it up while you weren't eating to see if you could both come to a solution? Like a hey, I know this is really unreasonable and it's completely my weirdness, but do you think we could figure something out so I'm not so bothered by eating together? I love the quality time of having meals together, but my issue is really starting to affect my enjoyment. Then talk about having the TV on. He could be more conscientious, maybe you could use earplugs. Also, have you tried relaxing and just listening to him eat? Sounds really silly, but next time you sit together while eating try and relax your body, deep breathing, relax shoulders, and focus on loving thoughts towards him. Takes about 20 minutes, but after that you should find yourself somewhat less startled by it. After doing this enough times your negative reaction should fade. I did this guided by my then psychologist, so it really is a process.